We published the first paper in this esoteric journal, Low Impact Factor. With this journal, you cannot do anything these days. Nobody will promote you anywhere. It's called BBRC. I love the journal. Even the Nobel Committee liked it, because this is the paper that they cited for the Nobel Prize, one of the two. You don't need more than one or two papers. And, but they should be the right ones. And in my opinion, it's the best paper we ever published, because everything was in. And the rest is history. So the rest 150,000 papers on the ubiquitin system that you will find nowadays in the literature are just history. And everything was in this single BBRC paper. Now, why the paper was important? Because we found exactly what we wanted. We took the cells, we broke them in water, we hemolyzed them, we spun down the debris, and we found exactly what we wanted: an ATP-dependent proteolytic activity in high-speed supernatant, which was non-lysosomal and was acting at pH 8. So that's all what we needed. Then, like good biochemists, we started to purify the system, because we thought, well, it shouldn't be a system, it should be a protease. We were after a protease. But already at the first stage, when we put the lysate on one column, the first column, which was an anion exchange column, the material that didn't adsorb to the column didn't have any activity. The material that adsorbed to the column, and we eluted not even with a gradient, we eluted it with one shot of 1 molar potassium chloride, had little activity, but the two of them reconstituted the activity. We were left without a paradigm. There was no paradigm behind. Because trypsin needs only the substrate. Trypsin, typically in the proteolytic world, you need only 2 for a tango. You need the substrate and you need the enzyme. Here we needed 3. We needed the substrate. In this case, it was treated globin, doesn't matter. And we needed 2. But don't forget that these 2 are crude cutting of the whole cell extract. So half of the cell extract is here, and half of the cell extract is here. But maybe fraction 1 contains 2 components, and fraction 2 contains 3. Maybe fraction 1 contains 20, and this one contains 300. I mean, the numbers can go as wild as you want. And indeed, each time that I took this one and I put it on a column, and I lost the activity, so I went back to the column and reconstituted. And along 5 years of my PhD, we were able to reconstitute the system, but reconstituting was not sufficient. We knew exactly what is the function. The trick was the function, obviously, not the reconstitution. We had to wait to Craig Venter and to the Human Genome Project and to Francis Collins to realize that the ubiquitin system contains, with all the tributaries and all the ubiquitin-like proteins, contains close to 2,000 proteins. It's the biggest family in the human genome. About 8% of the total human genome is one single system. Well, with all the recognizing and modifying enzyme and so on, it's by far the largest family in the human genome, 3-fold larger than the family of phosphatases and kinases together. And in a minute, you'll understand why the system is so sophisticated and much more complex than any other family. But the principle was already here, that the paradigm should be multi-component system rather than a single ATP-dependent protease that we were looking. So, and the rest was just biochemistry, classical biochemistry. I think that I shall finish up here, and again, telling you that in the late 70s, we started with something very esoteric, and I'm still young enough to tell you the other side of the story. So there is, well, it may look to you that 30 years is a long time, but 30 years was short enough time to start from zero and to end up with a drug, or with several drugs, which I think it's the paradigm for, not only for scientists, but mostly for politicians that fund science, that after all, there is something that is coming out of it. So thank you very much, and the best of luck in your conference.